Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Dis-Cember 2023. Well, we are taking a look at The Other Me, which is a movie I've done. Of course, usually these second reviews on the same day are going to be ones I've done. I'm trying to find the page. Okay, there we go. The Other Me. Alright, so The Other Me stars Andy Lawrence. Yes, by himself without his brothers this time. His first solo outing on Disney Channel, I believe. He had another one, a wrestling one. He played a blind person who wrestled. What's it called? Or what was it called? To the Mat or something like that. But he plays Will Browning. Excuse me. Alex Browning is Final Destination. Plays Will Browning, a teenager who accidentally clones himself while trying to make sea monkeys. It happened. That's the plot. So Will Browning is an average student. When average, I mean he goes to school, he gets picked on by the right people, he's friends with the right people. Average. His grades aren't doing that well, but average. He's got a grandpa who's basically comatose. He just sits there and watches old reruns of TV when they go to visit him in the old folks' home. His family life is fine. He's got a sister who thinks, an older sister who thinks that your younger brother's existence is a torture to her, all that sort of stuff. But his parents threaten him to send him to a summer camp if he doesn't get his grades up, so he decides to work on his science project, which he decides to use ocean pups, which are the specific brand of sea monkeys, let's face it. However, two bumbling scientists who work for ocean pups are actually secretly working on hypercloning. And some of their solution, their hypercloning stuff, falls into a pack of ocean pups. And wouldn't you know it, Alex happens to get that box. And when he makes it, goes to do the ocean pups by mixing it it doesn't come with a mixer or stirrer. So he uses a comb that has his hair in it, which immediately creates a clone of him. Now, I gotta hand it to Andy Lawrence. He plays Will, he's confident, he's normal. And then when he's Tui, as he's later called, he's a little timid, a little more new to the world. He's influenced by everything he sees on TV. There's this DJ. This is a bunch of nonsense that you'd see from TV DJs. So he's sort of, yo, what's up, P-Kick to the max? Where'd you learn that stuff? We got Brendan Jefferson here as a friend, his friend Chucky, who you may know as X-Ray from Holes, which came out a few years later. 4 years to be exact. He's also got this school bully named Scotty DeSoto. Look, there's never ever been a bully with the name Scotty. We're the ones usually getting picked on, us Scotties, okay? Say it. That was me. I was picked on. Hey, Marshmallow Man. Hey, little guy. Me. Yeah, I think I explained my bully. There's this guy. Knew him my whole life, right? Been in every class with him since the 3rd grade the second time, right? Middle school, he decides, hey, I'm bigger than this kid. I'm going to pick on him, right? We didn't know each other personally, but we never had any problems with each other. He just decided to pick on me. Like I said, I was smart, and I moved myself towards the classroom. So eventually, he was heard and taken care of. Bullying is not something to be laughed at. It happens. But this Scotty DeSoto, he comes from the generic background of, I didn't really have a dad, sort of stuff. Yeah. So Will makes his clone. There was also a girl named, was it Addison or something, who has this very high-pitched, squeaky voice and has a crush on Will. Yeah, there's an issue with her. We'll talk about that, but yeah, she has a crush on Will, wants to go to the social with him, but Will doesn't want to do it. He's iffy with girls, But he clones himself. Oh, by the way, the dad, Mark L. Taylor, is back after appearing in High School Musical 2 as the boss, the manager of the summer camp, the summer club, golf club, whatever, country club that they go to. He makes his second of 3 appearances this Dis-Cember with the other me. He will be back in Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. He plays the dad here. And the mom, don't know the actress's name, but she was Josie's mom on Strange Days of Blake Halsey High. Yeah, she had a recurring role in that. So anyway, so he creates the clone, and we have, now it's time for funny time. Now it's funny time. Now is fun time, funny times. Because, the clone gets hungry, just being born and all. So he goes down to give him some food, but the clone also goes down, Tui, his name is Tui. He calls him Tui. Goes down, we have this hilarious situation where both of them are around, and they're in each room, and it's, hey, what are you doing here? You just change your clothes. Hey, what happened? What are you doing down on the floor? That sort of situation. It's hilarious. But because the Tui absorbed all the information from his school textbook, he decides, hey, he's smart. He can go to school for me. Now later Tui tries to explain that he just tries more than Will, and that's why he succeeds more. But the way he absorbed that book by reading it that fast, there's something else. He's a hyperclone, sort of. Meanwhile, the 2 schlubs who created the hyperclone serum, because Will called Ocean Pups with a query on the subject, they realize that there's something going on. They find Will's house and follow him around, trying to figure out what he cloned. When they realize it's a human being, they're like, ooh, this is going to make us money. They have a little cure because they put a 3-day lifespan on it, or 3-week lifespan or something like that. 2 or 3 week lifespan, But that was the case. Why would you just let it expire? Because they want to make money, of course. Of course. Now, Tui goes to school instead of Will, right? Will stays at home and watches TV while Tui goes to school. Does all the things Will doesn't want to do. But Tui actually makes Will's life better. He's dancing to Bring in the Noise by NSYNC from their second album, Millennium. In the hallway, bring in the noise, bring down the house. We came here to turn the party out. Say, come on, let's raise the roof. Give proof you can get loose, y'all. That song. I had that CD. It's a great song. Listen to it a lot. But yeah. And he does get in trouble, but doesn't do much. Only thing it does is make Scotty Dakota his friend instead of a bully. Because Tui says, I don't know what it's like to have a father. I gotta imagine towards the end of the movie when there's 2 of them and then the parents show up and there's a dad, he might be a little confused, but he just sort of buys that there's 2 of them, I guess. And when we never see his Chucky's side of thing, all of a sudden he's just hanging out with Scotty DeSoto after Scotty's picking on Will before, but he's like, we're cool now. He just accepts it, I guess. And I guess we don't get to see a lot of the stuff. There's some school stuff that we get to see one day of school, but then we don't really get to see all the other stuff that leads to, Eventually Will decides, hey, I'm gonna go back to school. He does send Will to see his grandpa, his comatose grandpa, where we get a scene where he's like, he's hurt being old, and that causes him to talk because he never talks. And he starts to realize that maybe Tui is taking over his life. So he decides to go to school, and Tui's like, well, maybe I should inform you. A lot of things have changed. Oh, it's my life. I don't need anybody to tell about my life. But everything has changed. Everybody likes him now, because the first scene of the movie, he's coming in like, boo, hey. Now, hey, what's up, Will? Hey, Will, you're so cool. Hey. And he's like, what? There's going to be an issue, though. Because, the ending of this movie sets it up all hunky-dory that they're all going to be a family. But there's issues. Okay? So, Addison has already asked Tui to the social, thinking it's Will. He said yes, as long as you bring pizza. But, everything has changed for Will. He doesn't know what to do anymore. And he decides he's just going to get rid of Tui, leave him. I mean, Tui's kind of made his life better, but he doesn't see it that way, I guess. This is where the goons show up. He allows Tui to go to the social, and so they see Will left behind and think he is the clone. And then, he steals the solution, I think, the cure, whatever. And they go after him thinking he's the clone. He ends up at the dance. So we get another dance thing. This time to the song Life is a Party by Aaron Carter. Forgot it was in this movie. Yeah. And there's a scene where Tui starts feeling weird because the lifespan thing is starting to affect him. So he goes to the bathroom. Will shows up, excuse me. Tui. Will shows up, and they're like, hey, you promised us a new dance move. So he just comes up with this dance move to some generic song that the two schlubs have to kind of try to dance through to get to him. But eventually they do kidnap Will, and even when he's kidnapped, he tries to explain he's the real Will, and they're not sure if he's telling the truth or not. But Tui senses that Will is in trouble, because there's a strange connection that's never really explained. All we get from Will is that, some people say that, according to the science book, some twins have a connection. That's just it. Like, there's a scene earlier on where Tui gets scared of a mask in Will's closet, and it causes Will to freak out at dinner. Yeah, and so here he senses that Will's in danger and goes to help him. No. The fact that they're clones could help too, I guess. So he goes there to try to rescue him, and he does eventually, but before they can get out, the two schlubs, we get a little Home Alone here, and watching this part I thought, wouldn't it be better if this was like the whole movie where they're both like messing with them, throughout the movie as they're trying to get to them? It would be something. It would be compared to Home Alone, but this is just one little part, But they try to leave underneath the garage door, but they're able to pull Tui in because it's 2 against 1. And Will's able to sneak in through a window and save Tui. But save Tui. He pushes this thing over on the tall guy. And then here comes Chucky and Scotty DeSoto opening the door. Scotty DeSoto shoves the other guy in the freaking trunk of the car. And when Will's like, hey, how did you guys know I was here? He goes, well, he told us. He's like, I told him I told him where you were and that you needed help. He's like, you guys were telling the truth. And so he takes the serum and it saves him. And then the police and the parents show up. Okay, and so this is the solution to this. So the solution is to tell the cops that Tui is actually Will's twin cousin, Gil. You couldn't come up with a name that sounds more real? Just Gil. And what I like here is that it's the sister that speaks up first. Yeah, Gil. He's like, I never could tell them apart. Right, Dad? And she's like, tomorrow. They'll take statements tomorrow. Grandpa's also there. So their solution here is that they are going to just keep this going as their twin cousins. Will and Gil. Again, it could come up with a better name. Here's the issue. So, Chucky and Sky DeSoto, they know, right? I'm assuming they're having to say something to Addison when she sees there's 2 of them. She's going to be very confused. Wait, who is the one I was dancing with? Who's the one? It was Tui. And she's going to be conflicted. Either she's going to say, okay, I like Tui instead of Will, which might make Will a little miffed. Or she's going to say, screw you both. I'm not playing this game and walk away from it. Also, these two schlubby heads are yelling out that Tui is a clone. Now, when the police get back to their lab to get evidence, they're probably going to have forensics go over stuff. And if forensics happens to look at stuff and say, hey, wait a minute, this stuff, it might be possible to clone someone with this kind of stuff. That's going to shed another eye on that, you know. Who knows? I always want a sequel to this just to see, you know. Like, the local police might not do anything, but the government are definitely going to be investigating something. You know? I'm just saying. But yeah, it ends with them having pizza. There's a running joke where the mom wants them to eat very healthy, weird foods like tree bark and stuff. There was a lot of that in kids' movies at that time. The mom wanted people to eat healthy, and the dad was always trying to have other snacks, and yeah. I don't know. It's a pretty good. It's a fun little time capsule. Go back and kind of rewatch this. Both, you know, it's Andy Lawrence times 2, you know. That little kid you remember from those commercials, and not commercials, but from the TV shows and stuff. It's fun. He's fun, but I like the dance stuff, you know. I like how when the dance doing Life is a Party, everyone is like into it. Chucky's like, yeah, hold this, and hands the guy a pizza so that he could do the dance. But yeah, it's fun. The thugs, the two schlubs as I call them, are a little too generic. Why do they call them the schlubs? Because they are the two generic schlubs. It feels like they needed a boss, like someone they were working for. They don't feel like they belong as just solo villains, just villains themselves. They need someone else controlling them. It doesn't really work that they are just out doing this for themselves, because they needed one person above them, like a boss or something. Like the boss of Ocean Pups, the guy who owns Ocean Pups, was making them do this in secret, and now it's gotten out, so they have to go do it. Maybe if a sequel happened, that's what it would be, the boss of Ocean Pups. I don't know, but like I said, it's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on... Sorry about that. What are your thoughts on The Other Me? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.